This is the Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Chupa, a new fantasy adventure movie from director Jonás Cuarón. It's kind of a throwback to 80s or 90s adventure movies, or at least the good ones that I never saw as a kid. Anyways, it follows Alex, a young boy who goes to Mexico for spring break to meet his extended family. He's a bit distant and reserved at first, still coping with the death of his father, but eventually he warms up over time. Regardless, his trip is complicated a bit further when he and his cousins find a chupacabra hiding on their ranch, which, despite being considered a dangerous beast, is rather harmless at its age and size. They even name him Chupa, because why not? All of this doesn't stop a government scientist in the area from trying to kidnap it, leading Alex and the others to do what they can to protect their new friend. Thankfully, they don't have to do too much, because this movie kind of takes its time getting around to that actual conflict, building up Alex's character and the backstory of his family, while having casual reminders of Chupa's presence. The movie opens up with his reveal and what's happened to him, but then pushes all that aside for the human story. The two sides don't really meet up until about after the movie is halfway done, or at least it feels that way with how little of Chupa's story we get until then. When everybody meets, everything starts to get a bit streamlined and sped up a bit, especially when it comes to the central conflict and the antagonist scientist. He almost seems to be set up as somebody who will eventually switch sides, but he ends up just being more simple and generic as time goes on, and especially in the final scenes. His presence does play into the idea of the movie being a throwback to older adventure films pitting children and mythical creatures or alien beings against government exploitation, sure, but it still could have been written a bit better. The story hits all the right beats, but only in a way that feels like it's being done because it has to be there in a movie like this, without innovating on them in any significant manner. I might also chalk that feeling up to the actual performances of the leading characters, which I can forgive since they are kids, but could have still done with some more emoting or even exaggeration. I don't know. Anyways, the technical aspects of the film are handled well enough for what they want to accomplish. The story doesn't really leave its central location of the family ranch, but there is still enough variety in its layout that it doesn't feel too stale. Beyond that, though, it's pretty much either the desert or some place that we only visit once. Cinematography is done well enough, not in any dynamic or expressive sense, but certainly not boring or stale, and with a few creative framing choices here and there. There are a noticeable number of long takes and slow pans, which isn't a bad thing, but it sticks out to me. Either way, editing also keeps things moving along without confusing the audience or losing track of characters and events. For the most part, though, everything else about the movie's visual and technical makeup is otherwise mid-tier. For every good idea, like the throwback to 80s and 90s adventure movies, or the Mexican setting and mythology, there's something else which takes away from the experience and brings it back down. But at the end of the day, even if it's not truly revolutionary or special, it still has an amount of heart and honesty to it that makes it feel like more than just an attempt at capitalizing on some nostalgia. Chupa, Jonás Cuarón, 2023. 2.5 stars. I'd go ahead and say to see it, at least if you want something that doesn't have too many complications. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I will say that it's nice to see something new out there in this genre. Last I saw, it was all about rebooting old franchises or properties rather than trying to create them. Then again, I don't think this will be getting a sequel anytime soon.